Hello and welcome to another episode of the Fit Figure Formula podcast. I'm your host, Coach Steph. I am so excited about this new series. In January, we've pretty much been talking about menopause. I know it's still the end of January, but we're going into February. This is the month of love, right? And so I thought it would be really cool to do a self-love step challenge. This is based on the 5 love languages. So as far as I know, the 5 love languages came from a book. I forget the author's name, but it's based on how you give love and also how you receive and perceive love, right? And so sometimes when you have like a mismatch, it's in relationships where someone's trying to give you love in a love language that you don't quite understand or recognize, there's a mismatch, right? And so I want to take that concept and I want to talk about it with your own self-love in your health journey. So I have a self-love step challenge that is happening starting February 1st. If you're listening to this before February 1st, 2026, you can actually join the step challenge. It's $28 for 28 days. This is the current price. And I will be running this challenge again. I think it's going to be amazing. I've had a great time building the content. And the goal of the challenge really is to increase your steps and also your self-love. So it's going to be very simple. It's going to be some guided nutrition principles. It's inside of my Facebook group, but then also you're going to get inside of my coaching app. And I'm going to guide you every day on what to do and how to grow your self-love and your steps each day for the next 28 days. So if that sounds like something that you would love to do, make sure you head to the show notes and snag your spot. Now, if you're listening to this after February 1st, you can actually still join. I'm going to make this to where you can actually join after February 1st. But if you want to start with everybody else, make sure that you are in before February 1st. For anyone joining after February 1st, no worries. You'll still get the same great content because I'm going to go live and I'm going to save those live mini trainings and embed them in the challenge. So you're going to get still all of the same info and the same transformation. So definitely join us on the Self-Love Step Challenge. So today what I want to talk about is quality time. So the 5 love languages are quality time, acts of service, gifts and receiving, words of affirmation, and physical touch. So what I learned as I was creating the content for the step challenge is that the self-love that I like the most to give to myself is different from the ones that I would say I desire most in a relationship. So that was like a little aha moment for me. For me, I think quality time, I love being by myself, just to be alone, unbothered. We'll talk a lot about that today and what that means. And then also gifts. Your girl likes to shop. I like to get things that makes me really happy. And I will say, I feel like it makes me kind of temporarily happy because I will buy something that I'm really excited about and then I get it and I'm excited about it. And then I'm like on to the next thing. So it's definitely kind of an insatiable, unsatisfiable love language because you can always get more gifts. So I don't know if that's positive or negative, but I know it makes me feel good in the moment. Today, we're going to be talking about quality time. What does that mean? Is that your primary love language? I did ask on Facebook, what are your primary love languages? And I did have a lot of people say quality time, acts of service was a big one. So think about what yours is. What is the way that you feel most aligned, most in flow, most at peace, most loved, most relaxed? So are you even slowing down enough to give yourself the opportunity to know what that is? So this is what the step challenge is going to be about, is really like figuring out what are those practices that make me feel the best. And this is really about slowing down. It's about silence. It's about listening to your intuition and giving yourself time. Like the gift of time, if you think about it, time is our most valuable asset because time is not renewable. It's infinity, right? Like time just keeps going on and on forever. But once it's gone, right? The moment has passed. So I want you to really think about in this episode, what are you doing with your time and how are you giving yourself the gift of time if you receive and perceive love through quality time? So if you've ever said to yourself, I don't have time for myself, I'll focus on me later, or I just need to get through this season first and then I'll X, Y, and Z, this episode is for you. So if you always feel like you have to be highly productive and always on, that is very stressful. If it always feels like you never have enough time in the day to get everything done that you quote unquote need to do, I want you to think about, how can I think about my time in a different way that gives me another and a different level of peace? So especially when we're on a weight loss journey, it can feel like this is just another thing that's added on top of what I have to do, whether it's meal prep, walking, meal planning, doing your workouts. It can feel like, how am I going to squeeze this into my time? And one of the biggest mistakes that I see people making is thinking that your health habits are the extra thing on your plate, when it is the plate itself. You taking care of your body is your primary job, and everything else is second, because guess what? If you get sick or you're not okay in your body, everything else is going to fall by the wayside. So quality time is not so much about increasing how much time you have, because time is time. We all have the same time. It's more about using your time in a way that fills your cup versus depleting it. And one way that you can have the perception of more time is actually paying attention to your time and being more present in each moment. We think that we need to run around and rush. Like when you feel pressured for time and you're trying to multitask and do everything in a short amount of time, you actually feel like you have less time instead of more. Versus if you practice presence and mindfulness, time feels like it expands. Isn't that crazy? So quality time really is not about more time. It's about more attention and better attention. I always tell you guys that if you want to grow anything, that you need two things. You need intention and attention. So again, quality time is not about more. It's about paying attention to the time that you already have. Quality time with yourself is about being present. It's about being aware. It's about being regulated. And for many of you, it might be uncomfortable. So stillness forces you to feel. And I know people, and you might be one of these types of people who feels uncomfortable with silence, uncomfortable with just being. You feel like you have to keep doing, and be very action oriented. Dead space feels like dead space versus stillness and peace. You feel like you have to keep filling up the space. And it's like, what am I avoiding? What am I avoiding feeling? Avoidance is really expensive. Avoiding stillness and mindfulness can steal your healing. Presence is healing. So if you think about some of the most powerful practices in life, meditation is literally just paying attention to the moment without judgment and just being. And that is one of the most powerful things that you can do for your nervous system. And it's actually about doing less, paying attention more, and not rushing, not judging, right? Avoidance of that practice can be very expensive. So you do not have to spend a lot of time doing this, right? Like you can create what I call micro moments. So micro moments matter more than your big gestures. So increasing your self-love is not about, a whole hour of self-love and self-care, but it is about paying attention to micro moments, those small pauses throughout the day where you can choose yourself instead of being on autopilot. So I'll give you some examples. Sitting in your car for a minute or two before walking in the house. I think a lot of us do this. And you see how that's involuntary? We're actually doing that. I used to do that all the time, and I would just sit in the car. You can do that at any time. So I tell my clients to, especially my clients who deal with a lot of anxiety and over catastrophizing things, it may be like, okay, everything is crazy at work, at home. There's lots of things happening. And I'm like, okay, and you don't have to be a part of the chaos. Within yourself, you can go inward and be still and silent and present and mindful. And you can just be an observer of the chaos around you. You don't have to be a participant, right? So taking some deep breaths before answering a text or answering a question or just saying yes to something that you actually don't have the capacity to do right now. I always like the statement, don't confuse my free time with my availability. They are not the same thing. Just because you have a little free time on your schedule does not mean that you are available. What part of your life, because time is really about the time that you have, your actual life, how much of that time are you saving for yourself each day, right? Other examples, it could be eating a meal without your phone and just like literally eating and being present with your food. When's the last time you sat and had a meal and you paid attention to your five senses, what you're tasting, what you're smelling, what you're seeing, how it feels in your mouth? Like, how many times are we really being present with our food? It's so easy to overeat whenever you're really not even paying attention to your food, right? Another example might be stepping outside for fresh air instead of scrolling, like taking some little micro breaks, even if you are busy. For example, I just got off a call with one of my clients who's a physician, and she works really long shifts, but it's like, okay, even in that, how can I give myself micro moments to be present, micro moments to like take a sip of water? Or when I brush my teeth, I'm going to just be really present and just brush my teeth and not be thinking about like the future, because a lot of times our brain is so far into the future that we're missing all of the presence that you could have today in this moment. So micro moments are really how you regulate your nervous system when you're overstimulated, because if you are constantly thinking and having anxiety about the future, the present moment is going to feel really overwhelming because you're trying to deal with now and later at the same time. So giving yourself that gift of time and space is really powerful. So when you're constantly rushing, multitasking, you're reacting instead of responding. This is a great question that you can ask yourself too. Am I reacting or am I responding? A reaction is meaning that you are reacting to a stimulant versus pausing and then responding and taking a best action out of your highest and best self. And when you're constantly rushing and multitasking and reacting, your body is in fight or flight. We talked about stress management last month when we talked about menopause and how a dysregulated nervous system can make weight loss harder, emotional eating even louder, fatigue worse, decision making harder. So presence helps you to calm a dysregulated nervous system. So let's talk about that overstimulation in our nervous system. We are constantly being pinged for our attention, whether it's social media, and you have TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and Lemon8 and Clubhouse and school and all of these different things. Like, our attention is constantly being pulled in one direction or another, and it's endless, right? So each one of these notifications requires sometimes a decision. Do I read this text message or not? Do I answer this email or no? Right? And so it's like everyone else's needs is always being brought up. So literally, when you talk about quality time, you have to be real serious about that and take that time. And you want to take it first, right? And I think the best time to do that is like in the morning and grounding yourself so that you're giving yourself the best and first fruits of your energy and of your thoughts. Because whenever you make decisions all day long, by the end of the day, you really do have decision fatigue. So a lot of times in the morning, you might operate your best. Now, for you, that might be different, right? So again, customize this to where it works for you. But think about when you have your best energy and when is the best time to really like save time for yourself so that you can do whatever it is that you want to do with your time. Quality time with yourself, honestly, most of the time it looks like less input, less action, like unplugging for an hour. So this is something that you could be doing at least weekly, maybe just saying, hey, I'm unplugging for an hour every Saturday at 7 to 8. Like, this is my time. I'm just unplugging. One of my favorite things to do is do a staycation where I go in my own city. And I haven't done this often, but I'm definitely going to do it more in 2026 of like taking that time, even if I have to go to a hotel or a park. One time I went and I stayed at a hotel. I just went to like different parks. I had a blanket and I just journaled, and I just like, it was so great. Like, I did that particular thing one time and I absolutely loved it. For my birthday last year, I went by myself and stayed at a hotel I had some really good food, and I just really was with me. I like spending time with me. I really do. It's one of my most cherished things is silence, utter silence, and not being overstimulated. So putting your phone down and in the other room when you eat, or talking without listening to something all the time, or constantly being distracted. Distractions take your time. So if your love language is quality time, distractions actually are the opposite, because it's taking something from you that you can really never get back. Sitting in silence, letting your thoughts land, right? Silence is not empty. Silence is so abundant. Silence is infinite. And for me, it's just like so many things that I could think about and ponder on. And I just really enjoy that time. So your body also is always trying to communicate with you when it comes to hunger, fullness, stress, emotions. But a lot of times it can't compete with the noise that's happening because you're so focused on actions and doing things that just being, feels like it's not enough and there's a lack or a void. And that could not be further from the truth. So I want you to think about spending quality time with your food, mindful eating. So this means sitting down to eat, no multitasking, no eating over the sink, no eating while you're scrolling or watching TV, actually tasting your food and not rushing through your lunch, asking your body, like, what do I need right now? And then don't fill up the space, just listen. Have you ever sat with somebody and you are sitting with this person and y'all are just not talking? Does it feel awkward? Or could you practice just like being with a person and not needing to fill up the space and just like enjoying each other's presence and noticing that like vibrating spirit next to you? Like you get so much out of that practice for your mental health and for your physical health, right? So we can talk about quality time in terms of, setting boundaries around your time to do your health behaviors like working out, but also being still and just being with yourself. So when you're practicing mindful eating, this builds more trust with your hunger cues. You're more aware of your fullness because you are actually paying attention to yourself. You're asking yourself, what do I need in this moment? You will experience less emotional eating and more satisfaction with your food. So protecting that time is really important. Saying no is really an act of self-love. And I feel like the older you get, the better you get at this. But we were taught that saying no is selfish and that we had to give our time to everyone else. And that is a lie. And you do not have to continue to operate out of that belief. One practice that I heard that I really like is the default is no until I decide to say yes, because a lot of us will just say yes without even thinking about our capacity versus adopting this practice of like, it's a no until I have the capacity to say yes. So practicing your default being no and like standing on that without guilt. And then when you say yes, you're saying yes from a place of abundance because it's something that you can give versus allowing this person to steal time that you do not have or energy that you do not have. When you say yes to obligations that you actually don't want to do and you're spending your time in ways that you don't like, you build up resentment. It drains you. It takes away from what you actually need and want to be doing for yourself. So when you say no to others, sometimes it really is about saying yes to yourself and saying yes to rest, yes to peace, saying no to being overbooked, right? So really ask yourself, do I really want this? Do I have the capacity for this? Does this align with the season that I'm in right now? Like, you're allowed to change. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to need space. You're allowed to protect your energy. So some things that you can do, I've already mentioned, like doing some staycations. It can be a solo walk, just going and walking in nature. You can just take yourself out for coffee. It doesn't have to be a fancy restaurant. Taking yourself out shopping and spending time with yourself. Notice what it is that you like, what draws your attention. Sitting in a park with a journal. And here's one that I love, revisiting childhood hobbies. So what did you love to do when you were a kid? Did you love coloring? Did you love dancing? Did you love reading? Did you love creating? Maybe revisit some childhood hobbies that maybe you haven't done in a really long time. Those things are going to help regulate your nervous system. They still matter. A lot of times we still like those things. We just don't do them as much anymore, right? And so giving yourself that time, giving yourself the gift of time, because this is something that you really you can't get back after time is gone. It's gone. And one of the most powerful forms of quality time is just time to think, right? It's not about reacting or problem solving or doing more. It's just like, can I just think? So a lot of times if we want to build a new lifestyle, we have to actually give ourselves time to think through it. It's not just going to automatically happen. We have to think about, okay, what went well? What did not go well? How do I want to change it for the next time? We have to think about, well, what do I want to eat? How did that make me feel? What is working? What's not working? We have to process our emotions. We have to feel our grief, our joy, our frustration, plan our week. Ask yourself what you need. Giving yourself time to change, right? Not expecting yourself to have these unrealistic expectations where you've been doing the same thing for 10, 15 years and you expect to change within 90 days, right? Like, give yourself the gift of time and patience, time to think and time to plan, time to feel your emotions, time to eat in a mindful way and like paying attention to your five senses. And every time you give yourself time, silence, presence, mindfulness, you're saying to yourself that I matter. You're saying to yourself that it's okay for me to take up space, that my needs are also important, that I can be trusted with my time. And that self-trust is really the foundation of sustainable weight loss, consistency, and confidence in yourself. So it's not willpower, it's not perfection, it's not punishment. It's literally presence. It's literally paying more attention to what you are doing with your time. It's very precious. I'm 42 years old. If I don't live to 80, I've already lived more than half of my life. That's crazy. The time is going by so fast. So what are you doing with your time? Are you living life the way that you want to? How are you spending your time? Are you completely stressed out all the time? Something's got to change, right? So if this episode is hitting home, if you feel really disconnected from yourself because you're spending your time doing all the things and you're running on autopilot, you're not giving yourself any time, I want to invite you to the Self-Love Step Challenge. This is not about burning more calories. It's about like reconnecting with your body, being more mindful, loving yourself intentionally. So inside of the challenge, we're going to have some daily movement targets. We're going to create some micro moments for self-love. This is going to help calm your nervous system. We're going to build mindful habits that are actually sustainable, right? And so this doesn't necessarily rely on your discipline or your willpower. It actually is about more compassion, more intuition, and kind of slowing down. So come and join us inside the Step Challenge. I can't wait to help you. Like I said before, you'll get inside of my coaching app. I'm going to guide you on what to do every single day. It's going to be very simple. It's not going to take up a lot of your time. It's actually going to give you back some time. I'm going to be going live inside of my Facebook group weekly and giving you some more perspective, helping and coaching you. So make sure you come live whenever I go live inside the Facebook group. If you do join the Self-Love Challenge after February 1st, 2026, and you're seeing the replays, you still have messaging access with me. So let me know what aha moments that you get, because this challenge is really about your relationship with yourself. And I'm sure I'll run the challenge live again too. So come and join us. I can't wait to help you increase your self-love and your step count. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for listening to the Fit Figure Formula podcast. If you're new here and you're struggling with your fitness journey, I invite you to take a super simple next step. Click the link in the show notes for a free training. If listening to this podcast has been helpful, imagine being inside the Formula Coaching Program. You can apply for coaching with the link in the show notes. I hope to see you inside.